most people would assume that, yes, a suit is smarter than jacket and trousers.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No.
When you say separates, you mean a jacket with a pair of odd trousers, right?
I mean jacket and odd trousers, expression I use, it's an Americanism, the
Okay.
odd jacket, because people, if I talk about odd jackets and odd trousers, a lot of British people, they go, what's odd about it?
Yeah.
Do you mean odd as in
That was my
not
initial
matched?
reaction before I sort of learned the meaning behind it.
Yeah, did you
Yeah.
think that too? No,
Yeah.
but yeah, I talk about an odd jacket and odd trousers as in non-suit trousers, but I think we use separates, but I just think of, so I do like separates.
Mm-hmm.
I like wearing a tailored jacket with a different colour fabric, a different type of fabric, different colours, textures. I think it can look considered and smart.
Yep.
It wasn't always. It's often been seen as a less formal way of dressing than the matching lounge suit with 2 or 3 pieces, because it became conflated with the post-war concept of the sports jacket, which is what you're wearing, the sports weekend jacket, which wasn't for business wear. I feel though in the modern day, in the 21st century, to a lot of people, tailoring and a suit is something where you would use with a jacket and the nuance of having the same coloured fabric trouser is often lost. But it's not lost completely, the suit still has its place.
Absolutely.
Having said that, I feel for most people, if they're looking to get into tailoring, having separate jackets and trousers is a really good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other a long time, and I think you can probably count on one hand the number of times that you've actually seen me in a suit compared to separates. I mean, as you said, I think it's more of a contemporary way of dressing, at least in my mindset. The suit is not dead, as people, sort of like to throw that phrase around. There's still definitely a time and a place for it, and an occasion.
Who said the suit was
Loads
dead?
of people.
No.
It's been...
Not on my watch.
Not on your watch. Well, you need to get around more. but I'm sure that viewers out there have heard that expression before. It's simply not true. The suit is still very much alive, an important part of every man's wardrobe. I just think that with the way things have been trending more casual, if you still want to dress up and look your best and feel tailored and sartorial, separates is a very sort of natural, an easy, natural way to go.
Okay, I think where I see a separate jacket and trouser being more relevant and should be worn more is when you're seeing that modern corporate look of suit and no tie, which I really dislike.
Yeah, very much so.
I think the suit without a tie look is, I think we've covered it before in other videos, it's a difficult look to carry off. It looks fantastic if it's styled well, but for an everyday business look, it just looks a bit...
I'd say sloppy.
Sloppy, unsophisticated. So I think if you want to not wear a tie, which is fine, I think you're better off with a jacket and a trouser than a suit.
Or if you feel like a suit is just too formal and you're trying to make it more informal by losing the tie, just skip that altogether and go towards separates.
Yeah, sure. I also think, again, if you don't have an industry or profession which requires a suit, and you'll know if you do, having a jacket is more versatile, because what I liked about when I was building my wardrobe when I was in my teens, it was much more economical to have a really good jacket and then buy a second pair of trousers in a different style. So a blazer was one of my first investments, and I could wear that with Prince of Wales check trousers, flannels, worsteds, and then you've got 2 or 3 different looks. It means you can spend a bit more on the jacket and be a bit more experimental with the trouser.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not to say that suits aren't versatile in a similar way. I mean, you can play with the shirt style, the shirt color, ties, pocket squares, all of that, but you're still somewhat confined to the suit. I mean, the fabric and the pattern, whereas with separates, you have a lot more freedom to mix and match, really.
The issue again being purely practical, the issue I had with the suit when I was younger is often if you need to take your jacket off for work. I was at a very menial role in an office, and we took our jackets off to do our work, which means the trousers wear out, so you end up having your jacket and trouser wearing out at different phases. Whereas if you've got separates, you can go back. I mean, I think I've covered this before, but if we think before the lounge suit, the business dress was a frock coat. It was and you invested in your black frock coat, and you wore different trousers with it. So the idea of a black jacket and striped trousers You still saw it in London up until probably the 60s. But I always thought, what a practical way of dressing. You could invest in one really good jacket,
Yep.
and then you could change the look and the weight between seasons with your trousers, because wearing a mid-weight jacket on heavy trousers is good for winter, and then you got the opposite. So I feel the suit became more important than it really was. It was definitely the garment of the 20th century. I still love suits, and I still think the suit has a place.
Absolutely.
And in certain circumstances, in certain situations with certain people, the suit has a language and a power that no blazer can compete with.
No, but I do think that a well-considered, well-put-together outfits consisting of separates that's well-tailored in a workplace today can look just as good as
Completely.
somebody in a suit, and certainly better than someone who's wearing a suit with an open neck and no tie.
I don't see, I mean, when there were debates about the suit, and the trouble with I think about the suit debate, which I think has died down a bit now, let's bring it back.
Okay, why not?
Is there weren't many good arguments for it.
The practicality of a suit?
Well, no, but people were saying that some of the arguments about the suit was that, the suit's always so smart. Well, I don't think a suit is intrinsically smart. It can be worn smart, it can look great, and a beautifully tailored suit, well groomed, but you don't have to go far to see someone looking scruffy in a suit. To me, a suit isn't always smart, and it gets called timeless. It hasn't been around that long.
Well, this is what I was sort of referencing in my point earlier, is that just because you wear a suit doesn't mean that you look smart. A very frumpy, ill-fitting suit is going to not look smart and formal.
I actually think it's the opposite. I think a bad dress, a scruffy person in a suit I notice them more than a scruffy person casually.
Yeah.
So I think it's, but so the idea of the suit being smarter than a jacket, no. I mean, I think I feel quite smart in my current blazer.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is not only would you look great in an office or corporate setting where that's expected, but you could easily after hours sort of transition to the pub. You could take off your tie, open up, undo one of the buttons and go to the pub and still look very smart.
I never do that.
I know you don't, but I think a lot of gentlemen out there would.
No, if you like to take your tie off at the end of the day, if you're wearing a sports jacket or a blazer, it works better. I would just say, why are you taking that? If you need to take your tie off, is your shirt collar the right size? Are you wearing the right ties?
I mean, I think it depends on the setting, how you feel, what you want to project. But I know a lot of guys out there who that's just sort of natural at the end of the day.
An open neck shirt with a sports jacket is a better look than an open neck look in a shirt for most people. It's an easy look to carry off.
Yeah, and I think that also with separates, you can express a little bit more maybe of your personality. You can be a little bit more playful, and still maintain like a well curated wardrobe, if that makes sense.
For sure. No, the jacket you're wearing is a perfect example. That as a three-piece suit would be something, a statement. So having separates means you can wear different fabrics and different textures that perhaps would be a bit much as a suit, just visually as a suit.
Colors even.
So if you've got you want to wear a bright colour, trousers, there's an English tradition of wearing quite bright coloured trousers, and I think in certain parts of America there's that fashion. Because you can wear bright trousers, they're away from your face, and it's an easier way of wearing bolder colours. Whereas you can wear red corduroys, you can wear pink chinos, but if that's a suit, it'd be too much. So it's an opportunity to wear more. It's easier to wear colour with separates.
Yeah, because you can anchor a bolder look with a more understated jacket or trouser, depending on which one is louder.
No, certainly. And I think again, if you're not wearing tailoring very often, having a well selected range of separates in your wardrobe, it's easier to rotate them into your everyday life. Whereas if you only have suits and you end up wearing the jackets, and some suits break up wonderfully, and some people have excellent taste in breaking up their suits, but it's a next level thing to do every time perfectly. I know people that can do it amazing, but that's not everyone.
No.
The danger of doing that is you end up with pieces that don't work separately. So you might have a Prince of Wales check suit, and the trousers look amazing, but the jacket isn't quite the right material. Perhaps it's a worsted, those sort of shinier cloths.
Yeah.
Fantastic trouser with a blazer, but those sort of more worsted Prince of Wales check jackets, not such a good look for a sports jacket. They don't dress down as well. So by having separates, you have a more versatile, tighter wardrobe.
A lot of flexibility that
A
way.
lot more flexibility, yeah. So Austin, here's a point.
Okay.
Are suits smarter than jackets and trousers?
That's a good question. I think that most people would assume that yes, a suit is smarter than jacket and trousers.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, there's nothing intrinsic. I don't think, all things being equal, there's nothing intrinsically smarter about a jacket and trouser being in the same cloth than being in separate cloths. I remember when I was a younger salesman in Selfridge's department store, you want to attract customers, you want to look smart, you want to look interesting, so they come to you and get your advice, and you tell them more stuff, and you get commission. And I had my weekend uniform with a double-breasted blazer, and I felt this double-breasted blazer with my regimental style buttons on the front looked a lot smarter, and I got more comments about how smart I looked wearing that outfit with a shirt and tie and cufflinks, etc., than a two-button grey worsted. Now, I accept that for certain occasions, I went to a funeral, for example, I'm more likely to wear my two-button grey worsted than my double-breasted blazer. I still felt that my blazer was smarter than my suits, but less formal. So I've always been aware and interested in the fact of smartness and formality having a slightly different scale.
Yeah, it's an interesting distinction that I really hadn't thought about before, and probably a lot of guys haven't made that distinction, but you're absolutely right. There is a difference between smartness and formality.
Exactly. And also, if you look at some formal dress, British formal dress, there's often separates involved. I think I've mentioned this many times, but the classic English morning coat is essentially separates.
Yeah.
So the most formal expression of day dress is actually separates. And then the grey version, which is the suit, is considered less formal. So separates can actually be considered more formal than the matching suit. So in that context,
yeah,
I think it makes sense. Again, nothing against the suit, and I'm a big fan of suits, and I enjoy wearing them, and they have their place.
So I'm going to backpedal here. How would you define smart, and how would you define formal?
Okay, well, formal is easier to define. You would say that for day dress in the UK, the most formal expression of that for a civilian. Am I sounding a bit pompous here?
No,
but
go for it.
I feel like I'm reading a guide. Would be morning dress.
Yeah.
Followed by a lounge suit, followed by a sports jacket, followed by anything goes.
So you're referencing garments.
Oh yeah, for formality, it's garments.
For formality.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Garment. So yeah, so I'd say morning dress is formal dress. This is confused a lot of people. The lounge suit technically is still regarded as informal.
Yeah.
Most invitations now have stopped using the expression informal, meaning lounge suits, and now say lounge suits. But that would be the degree of formality. And then for evening wear, it's even easier to define. The most formal version of expression of dress is white tie and tails. I know I've seen you in black tie.
Yep, many times.
Many times. You can't get you out of bloody black tie yet.
No.
So black tie would be the second one, and then
Yep.
after that would be lounge suits, and then casual.
Okay.
So those are degrees of formality.
Okay.
I think kind of not controversial. I don't think I'm doing. I mean, if everyone disagrees with me, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear an alternative point of view if I've left out something important. Maybe some regional dress codes I've probably ignored. But I'm talking about civilian clothing, degrees of formality. But smartness is different. I think smartness is grooming. It's how well polished your shoes are, how clean your cuffs are, how you present yourself.
How polished you are as
how polished
image.
you are. And then certain garments have a smartness about them. I think a well-polished pair of shoes always looks smart, whether you're wearing washed-out jeans or a tailsuit.
Yeah.
They just look smart. A well-ironed shirt always looks smart. Well, these things aren't intrinsic to any of those dress codes, so I think we need to understand dressing formal is more than just putting a jacket on.
Yeah, and just to illustrate, I mean, we were just talking off camera. You were at a bar in a Prince of Wales suit, and a gentleman walked in white tie. He was technically more formal, but you looked smarter than he did because your suit was better fitting, your shoes were polished, everything that you just mentioned.
Yeah, it can be, and I just felt that illustrates the point.
Yeah.
Having a more formal version of clothing on, sadly, isn't a magic wand to make you look smarter.
No.
So Austin, we've been filming now for what, 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
you haven't mentioned jeans. Are you feeling okay?
I'm a little sickly today, but since you brought it up, let's talk about jeans.
Excellent. Jeans and suits or jeans and blazers? What's your go-to?
Jeans and blazers if you're going to do it. I would not advise, as an expert on integrating jeans or denim into all my looks, I would not advise doing jeans in a suit, but jeans in a blazer, you can't miss really.
I'm back onto it. I went off it a long time. Again, I don't think it's not a go-to, and I think it should be approached with caution still.
I'm a little bit more liberal with my approach, but that's just me. You know
for you,
that. Yeah.
For you, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think for someone my age and my build and my background, I just think the jeans and blazer thing needs to be approached with a bit more caution. There are lots of people. Are we allowed to mention famous people?
Yeah, why not?
Jeremy Clarkson. Just think of jeans and jackets. Isn't always such a good look. It needs to be the right jeans.
Yeah, definitely.
But then wearing your suit jacket with jeans, I think that we don't really see it so much now.
Yeah.
Because
it's such a bad look.
No, there are if it's the right suit jacket, I'm still a huge fan of it. But it's such a confident, elegant look.
Yeah.
It needs to be. I like flannel. I think.
Definitely. It depends on the fabric.
I think a flannel chalk stripe with jeans just has a certain look to it. What you don't want is your Super 150s.
Exactly.
Is your Super 150s bird's eye.
Which is what most people, I think of when they think of like mixing a suit, dressing high-low suit with denim.
I think high-low dressing where you're taking a really elegant flannel chalk stripe double-breasted suit jacket, an open neck shirt, washed out jeans and some loafers is very cool. Yeah. It's very lifestyle. That to me is not to be confused at all with that guy at the Gatwick Airport going into the business lounge who has taken a suit and he doesn't want to crumply suit, so he's wearing his bad chinos with bad jeans and his suit jacket doesn't go just to avoid packing it. Yeah, so I mean, I think to pull off. Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a distinction, and everybody can sort of, conjure up in their mind exactly that caricature, right? That guy, yeah. But if you are gonna do the high-low thing, you essentially said it. You need the right pair of denim and you need the right jacket, and I think because wearing a jacket sort of is a more sartorial, tailored look, the denim needs to be a little bit more tailored, and what that means is denim that's not super skinny and tight. Not super skinny, and not low rise. Your denim needs to have proper rise. I would say around the navel, and needs to have a fuller leg. Like I don't want to see your calves through. I don't want to see the outline of your calves. That's way too skinny. You need something slim with much more drape. It needs to be elegant. Yeah, but I wouldn't go too baggy in the jeans. We're not going workwear or like It still should. I think a straight leg with maybe a slight taper. But maybe I'm perhaps speaking too much for myself. I guess it's the jeans that work for you should be the ones that should be able to work with your tailoring. Yeah, no, well said. But I don't think it's all distressed. I remember I've been looking at some pictures recently, and it's interesting how I think more than any other item of clothing, how denim jeans date so badly. Date? Yeah. I mean, I was looking at some sort of late 2000s Tom Ford tailoring. It's quite an important era in suit. The Tom Ford suit. Absolutely. That 5-button cuff, 2-button peak, the pearl rope shoulder, oversized ticket pocket, all those details. It was like a wow, it was a power suit. And you look at it now and thinking, you could wear that now and still look smart and not look 15 years out of fashion. And then you see Tom Ford wearing all of his jeans and he's got the boot cut, washed out jeans with holes in it, and it just suddenly takes you straight back to 2008. Yeah, it does have a way of sort of dating you. But it still needs, like the way when I wear jeans and a jacket, I still look at it through sort of a sartorial lens. I think about proportions and cut and the fabric. I mean, much the same way I do if I were to put on a pair of
dress trousers or a suit. Everything needs to be cohesive and work together. And I prefer, as we were talking about before, textured jackets with denim versus, a bird's eye worsted or something. It's just,
for sure.
It all needs to sort of...
But should we be afraid of fashion? I mean, again, thinking back, he looked great then, and he was a fantastic, it was an amazing time. We shouldn't be held back. And no, I'm not going to wear that because I might go out in fashion one day. I think that's something we shouldn't be afraid of fashion. So the high-low, I think it's much easier to put a sports jacket with other elements.
Yep.
So be it denim jeans, be it your chinos, be it your khakis, or your denim shirt. Now all these elements probably can also go with your suit, but high-low does, I think, go better with separates. It's an easier way to bring it in. Also, if you've got a great soft sports jacket, you just throw it over your casual clothing, and that's the easiest way of doing high-low dressing.
Yep.
You're doing some errands, you've got sweats and some jeans on and some sneakers, and you want a jacket on, rather than picking a quilted perhaps jacket, you grab a tailored jacket, and suddenly you've mastered high-low dressing.
Absolutely. I'm not surprised that you have so many opinions on this topic.
It's menswear, it's a topic, I have opinions.
Yeah, well, if you guys have opinions, please leave them in the comments section below and we'll be sure to get back to you.
And don't forget to subscribe.